In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. English 8. Lecture number 3. I am Muhammad Asim Pervez. Dear students, we were reading the Comprehension, the story A Shot in the Dark. Today we shall resume the topic with the explanation to the text with all those words and their meanings. Dear students, let's move on to the next page, which is page number 8. If you would not mind lending me £2.10 or 3 for preference, I shall be awfully obliged. It will pull me out of a hole. I think I can manage that, said Slatherby after a moment's hesitation. Thanks awfully. It's jolly good of you. What a lucky thing for me that I should have chanced across one of my mother's friends. It will be a lesson to me not to leave my purse lying about anywhere when it ought to be in my pocket. I suppose the moral of the whole thing is don't try and convert things to purposes for which they were not intended. Still, when a quiet purse has your crest on it. What's your crest, by the way? Slatherby asked carelessly. Not a very common one, said the youth. A demi-lion, holding a crosslet in its paw. When your mother wrote to me, giving me a list of trains, she had, if I remember rightly, a running greyhound on her notepaper, observed Slatherby. There was a tinge of coldness in his voice. This is the Jago crest, responded the youth promptly. The demi-lion is the saltpan crest. We have the right to use both, but I always use the demi-lion because, after all, we are really saltpans. Now, the meaning to all difficult words from this passage. First word is obliged. Obliged means make someone legally or morally bound to an action or course of action. The next word is demi-lion. Dear students, as you can see from the image, this is what you call demi-lion. Next word is crosslet. The picture has been pasted for you to understand. This is crosslet. Next word is tinge. This is a tendency toward or trace of some color. Next word is promptly. That means with little or no delay, or you can say immediately. Now let me explain this paragraph. The young boy, with some hesitation and embarrassment, requests Mr. Slatherby to lend him 20 to 30 pounds, which after a moment's hesitation Slatherby agrees to give it to him. The young boy said thanks to him, and then he again felt embarrassed, and he said that it will be a lesson to him not to leave his handbag lying about any place when it should be in his pocket. And then he says that I guess the lesson of the entire thing is don't try or attempt to change over things to purposes for which they were not planned. After a moment, Slatherby asked him about his crest. The young man replied that he has a demi-lion holding a crosslet in its paw. But then uh, Slatherby asked him that when he had corresponded with his mother, uh, as far as he remembered, that letter had a running greyhound on that notepaper. So he feels doubted about it. But then the young man explained to him that the Deviline is the salt pen crest, and he also explained that uh, they have the right to use both, and that is another thing that the boys always prefers to use the Demi-Lion. Dear students, let's move on to page number 8, the explanation of the text. There was silence for a moment or two, and the young man began to collect his fishing tackle and other belongings from the rack. My station is the next one, he announced. I've never met your mother, said Slatherby suddenly, though we have corresponded several times. My introduction to her was through political friends. Does she resemble you at all in feature? I should rather like to be able to pick her out if she happened to be on the platform to meet me. She is supposed to be like me. She has the same dark brown hair and high color. It runs in her family. I say, this is where I get out. Goodbye, said Slatherby. You have forgotten the 3 quid, said the young man, opening the carriage door and pitching his suitcase onto the platform. I have no intention of lending you £3 or 3 shillings, said Slatherby severely. But you said, I know I did. My suspicions hadn't been aroused then, though I had not necessarily swallowed your story. The error about the crests put me on my guard, notwithstanding the really brilliant way in which you accounted for it. Then I laid a trap for you. I told you that I had never met Mrs. Alpenjago. As a matter of fact, I met her at lunch on Monday last. She is a pronounced blonde. The train moved on, leaving the so-called son of the Salt-Pen-Jago family cursing furiously on the platform. Meaning of difficult words from the current passage. The first word is resemble. It means look like. Next word is suspicions. It means a feeling or thought that something is possible, likely, or true. The next word is swallowed. It means believe unquestioningly. Next word is blonde. It means a woman with fair or pale yellow hair. Dear students, let me explain the text here. On this page, Bertie collected his fishing tackle uh, and other belongings from the rack. And meanwhile, Slatherby asked him how he would recognize his mother if he would come to if she would come to platform to receive him. Bertie said that she is supposed to be like him, uh, like she had same brown hair. Bertie reminded him to lend him 3 quid because he was getting off the train at that moment. But Slatherby refused to lend it to him as he didn't believe him and that it caused doubts in his mind because when he asked him about the color of her hair and the crest that the family had, he didn't seem to comply with both questions he asked to the boy. As a matter of fact, here in this case, Slatherby had met her last Monday and he remembered that she was a noticeable blonde. Dear students, let's move on to page number 9, explanation of different paragraphs of the comprehension. Well, he hasn't opened his fishing expedition by catching a flat, chuckled Slatherby. He would have entertaining story to recount at dinner that evening, and his clever little trap would earn him applause as a man of resource and astuteness. He was still telling his adventure in imagination to an attentive audience of dinner guests when the train drew up at his destination. On the platform, he was greeted sedately by a tall footman and noisily by colored people, an important lawyer who had apparently travelled down by the same train. "Hello, Slatherby. You spending the weekend at Brill? Good. Excellent. We'll have a round of golf together tomorrow. Ah, here we are. Here's the car waiting for us, and a very nice car too." The car, which won Claude people's approval, was a sumptuous-looking vehicle which seemed to embody the last word in elegance, comfort, and locomotive power. Its graceful lines and symmetrical design masked the fact that it was an enormous wheeled structure combining the features of a hotel lounge and an engine room. Different sort of vehicle to the horse-drawn carriage in which our grandfathers used to travel, eh? Explained the lawyer appreciatively. And for Slatherby's benefit, he began running over the chief points of perfection in the fitting and mechanism of the car. Slatherby heard not a single word, noted not one of the details that were being expounded to him. His eyes were fixed on the door panel, on which were displayed two cross crests, a running greyhound, and a demi-lion holding in its paw a cross bracelet. Dear students, let me explain the meaning of difficult words in this passage. First word is expedition. It means a journey or voyage undertaken by a group of people with a particular purpose. Next word is astuteness. It means ability to accurately assess situations or people and turn this to one's advantage. Next word is sedately. Sedately means calm, dignified, and unhurried. Next word is sumptuous. It means splendid and expensive looking. Next word is expounded. Expounded means to explain in detail. Dear students, before we move on to the explanation from the current page, let me resume and take you back to the last scene where Philip Slatherby left Bertie cursing himself loudly on the platform. Now, while he was destined to his destination, traveling by train, he was imagining that he had perhaps tricked that young boy by asking him different questions which he could not, to his satisfaction, reply uh, as he was expecting. Now he was imagining that he had a great story to tell to the members at dinner in the evening that day, and that he will get an appreciation from that he was a man of resource, Um, and similarly, um, after some time, Claude people received him at the platform, and he received him noisily. He was Claude people was a famous lawyer in that area. After he had received him, he started talking to him, uh, maybe trying to make up for the lost time uh, during which he had been silent for a long time because he had traveled by the same train uh, like Slatherby was traveling by. Uh, he Claude people talked about that car, which had an elegance and comfort and locomotive power and its symmetrical design. And the next paragraph, um, Slatherby didn't uh, pay heed to even a single word that uh, Claude people spoke, but his attention was towards the door panel, and he lay his eyes fixed on the door panel on which um, there were displayed two crests, a running greyhound and a dandelion holding in its paw a crosslet. Dear students, now we will move towards the end of the story. This is explanation from page number 9. Claude People was not the sort of man to notice an absorbed silence on the part of a companion. He had been silent himself for nearly an hour in the train, and his tongue was making up for lost time. Political gossip, personal anecdote, and general observation flowed from him in an uninterrupted stream as the car sped along the country roads. Just as the car turned in at the Brill entrance gates, Claude People captured Slatherby's attention by switching his remarks to the personality of their hostess. Brilliant woman, level-headed, a clear thinker, knows exactly when to take up an individual or a cause, exactly when to let him or drop it. Influential woman, I wouldn't dare upset her, but too restless, no repose, great good appearance, too, till she made that idiotic change. Change? Queried Slatherby. What change? What change? You don't mean to say, oh, of course, you have only known her just lately. She used to have beautiful dark brown hair, which went very well with her fresh complexion. Then one day, about 5 weeks ago, she electrified everybody by appearing as a brilliant blonde. Quite ruined her looks. Here we are, I say. What's the matter with you? You look rather ill. Now, the difficult meaning, the words and their meanings. First word is anecdote, a short, amusing, or interesting story about a real incident or person. The next word is level headed. It means intelligent. Next word is influential. It means powerful and authoritative. Next word is electrified. It means arouse a sudden sense of great excitement in. Dear students, let me explain this passage. Claude people seemed to be less concerned with the complete silence of Slatherby, who was least interested in listening to what he was saying. Instead, he went on to praise that elegant car. After that, they switched to the personality of their hostess, the Saltpen Jago. Claude people remarked that she was a brilliant headed woman. Then he talked about that idiotic change in Salpenjago's good appearance. She had dark brown hair, but now she is a brilliant blonde. The story ends with the cloud people's comment that why Slatherby looked worried. And dear students, we know very well why Slatherby is worried. Please give me its answer in the comment section. Dear students, this is the end of the story. I hope you would have enjoyed it and learned a lot from the story. And I also expect that keeping in view this comprehension, you will be able to look for the answers to all questions given at the end of the exercise. Besides, I encourage you to have a look on those handouts and the tools that we had provided you already, to take a look and study well from them. Thank you very much. See you in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.